The Antonio Villaraigosa Leadership Award was first presented to Mayor Villaraigosa in 2012 in Orlando as he closed his term as president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. At that time, the Latino Leaders Network announced it would rename the award in his honor to recognize outstanding mayors who are dedicated to bringing their diverse communities together to include us. Mayor Villaraigosa clearly set the highest standard of excellence by which all future awardees will be measured, and we are thrilled to have him back with us once again on his birthday. Please welcome the Honorable Antonio Villaraigosa for the introduction of our honoree, and let's wish him happy birthday.
You know what I just said to him? I don't know if all the speakers noticed, but Mickey starts walking up when it's time. So I just hugged him and I said, I'm going to say nice things about you, so give me a little more time. First of all, what a crowd. I mean, this is a testament to the mayors of America, and you said it well, Javier. You know, if we ran the federal government the way we run our cities, particularly our great cities, our big cities, we'd be a lot more effective. And it's a tribute to all of you that so many are here. And I want to say something about Mickey, and I always do, because, but before I do, let me thank our servers. Muchas gracias por servirnos. Thank you very much for being here. You got a tough job, everybody. So help them out. Give them a big hand. You know, Mickey, I've known him now some 30 years, actually 32 years. And the time I've known him, Mickey's always been a mentor. He's nurtured and developed young leaders. Across the country, Mickey goes wherever our community is, and he's nurturing leaders in a way that makes them special and unique. So when he put the Latino Leaders Network together, I think a lot of us, whether we lived in Texas or California or New Jersey or New York or Florida, we understood that we needed to participate. Because what he was trying to do back then was bring a community together. But early on, when we identified acknowledging leaders, Mickey said, and we agreed, you know, it would be too easy just to acknowledge Latino leaders. You know, a lot of organizations do things like that. They honor, and it's a good thing, it's a great thing, people from their own community. What we wanted to do with the Latino Leaders Network, what Mickey's vision to do, was to acknowledge people, not just in the Latino community, but people in the diverse communities that make up our great country, who bring people together, who understand that with the changing demographics in our country, it's really important that leaders unite, and they unite beyond their own communities. And in that vein, that's what makes you special, and that's what makes the Latino Leaders Network special. So give Mickey Ibarra a big hand. There are past recipients like Stephanie Rawlings Blake, our great mayor of Baltimore, former president of the Conference of Mayors, and others who are here. And I think what we all acknowledge is that this organization understands that particularly in our cities, where so many immigrants come, where there's so many different nationalities, so many different communities, we need those leaders that represent all of us. And in that vein, tonight we honor Sylvester Turner, the mayor of Houston, a city as diverse as any in the United States of America, with a leader who brings us together. Now, you heard from Congresswoman Garcia. She was one of 3 leaders, including Carol Alvarado, the state senator in Texas, and others, who nominated the mayor because he understood that in Houston and in Texas, we need to bring everybody in, including people who have been there for a few hundred years now. And speaking of a few years, Mayor Turner has been around. 27 years in the Texas legislature, 27 years. You know, we have something in common. You know, we heard from Congresswoman Garcia that I reminded her of her mama. And and you are the tocayo. And in many ways, we got something in common because you swung for the fences a couple of times. You tried for mayor once and twice, and third time was a charm. And I think what that says about Mayor Turner, and I was in the same situation. I had to try once to get on board. I think what it says is he's a man of resilience. He's a man that never stays down. He gets up. And he gets up and understands that to whom much is given, much is expected. And one of the things I'm proud about is his initiative around complete communities. Because what he has said is, if Houston's going to be the great city that it's destined to be and is, it's got to be a city where we're growing together. It's got to be a city where we're complete all the way around. And in that vein, he understands that Houston, like LA and Baltimore and Chicago and virtually every big city, got to do something about our schools. Because in too many of our schools that are disproportionately kids of color, disproportionately poor or on the lower socioeconomic rungs of the ladder, and he understands there's not enough to be the mayor. He's got to bring more people with him. And so I couldn't be prouder, and I think we couldn't be prouder to acknowledge him tonight, because he knows the pathway to the opportunity to America that you heard Martin Castro talk about is getting an education. You know, it's being able, in an economy predicated on intellectual capital, being able to read and write and advocate. And he is committed to doing that, and that's part of his Complete Communities initiative. So when we put together this, you know, who should we honor tonight, Mickey and I and the board decided that Sylvester Turner was the man. A man who understands and I like to say, el papel de primero no es golpear tu pecho y decir soy tan único, soy especial. El papel de primero es abrir la puerta para los demás. The role of the first is not to bang on your chest and say how great I am. The role of the first is to open up the door for the rest. And you are a first in that regard. And it comes through education. So tonight we're honored to acknowledge you for your leadership, for your bringing communities together, for standing up to the notion that as we celebrated Martin Luther King's birthday just the other day, that we should all be judged, not just the men, but every one of us ought to be judged on the content of our character. And that's what you've been about. So I couldn't be more honored to call you forward and call Mickey, of course. To present you with this tribute to Mayor Sylvester Turner for your work, not just as mayor, but in the state legislature, standing up for the least among us, standing up for communities that have been left behind and disempowered, and working to empower them and to make sure that they rise to the top. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Look, let me just start off first. Let me acknowledge Mickey Ibarra. Mickey, thank you so very much for being a founder, chairman of the Latino Leaders Network, and for your leadership, for your dedication. And the group came to Houston last year. We were honored to host you then. So let me thank you. Please give it up to Mickey one more time. Look, let me just say that I am very moved to receive an award in the name of Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa. Thank you. When he was mayor and I wasn't mayor, I was in the legislature, I was following what you were doing out in LA. And I'll come back to a few things, but you have not just inspired Latinos, you've inspired African Americans, Asians, Anglos, you name it, through your own leadership. So thank you, and I very much appreciate it. And to receive this award in your name just means a great, great deal. To all of the mayors who are here for the U.S. Conference of Mayors, all the mayors, let me just say good evening to all of you. To those who are the previous recipients of this award, let me certainly acknowledge each one of you. To those who were responsible for getting me to this event and receiving this award, Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia, you and I have known each other for a long, long time. And I want to thank you for your leadership in the city of Houston. You've been on the front line, and I thank you for having a significant hand in causing me to be where I am today. So thank you, Congressman Sylvia Garcia. State Senator Carol Alvarado is in Austin with the Texas legislature. So she's not here today, but I do want to acknowledge her, and Harris County Commissioner Adrian Garcia. I certainly want to acknowledge his role that he played in me receiving this award. I do have a council member who was very instrumental in receiving this award, and since he votes on my budget and everything else, I certainly want to give him special attention. He was not at the council table this morning, but the reason why he wasn't at the council table, he came ahead of me to be here tonight, and let me tell you, that means a great deal, and I don't take that lightly. Councilmember Robert Gallegos, thank you, man. I appreciate you. Thank you. Look, let me just say that I have the privilege of being the mayor of a great city, and so many Houstonians. Commissioner Rodney Ellis is here, and then for the Congresswoman of the 18th Congressional District to take the time to be here as well. I cannot say enough, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. Thank you so very, very much. I will say to you, when my mom was dealing with Alzheimer's, there are 9 kids. She forgot all of our names. But there's one person whose name she didn't forget. She was watching CNN, and we were walking through, and she started saying, Sheila Jackson Lee, Sheila Jackson Lee. Sheila Jackson Lee was the last name my mama remembered. So I don't know what that was all about, but thank you, Sheila Jackson Lee. There are a number of people who are here from Houston. I would be remiss. I know if you just stand where you are, because I appreciate all of you who have traveled with me to come here from Houston. Please stand, because I appreciate you, and I certainly want to thank you all so very much. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thanks, Mike. Thanks. Look, the reality is, even as mayor, you can't do anything by yourself. I happen to be the mayor where, in terms of demographics, 45% of my city is Hispanic. 40 to 45%. By the year 2050, we project that the percentage will probably be close to 60%. If you take Harris County, one of the largest counties in the United States, probably the third, I think about the third largest county in the United States, 50% of the population under 20 is Hispanic. And for the first time in the history of Harris County, we have a Latina as the county judge of Harris County. No offense to any other mayor, but I happen to be the mayor of the most diverse city in the United States of America. One of 4 Houstonians is foreign born. And the reality is, if you're going to get anything accomplished, you got to work in collaboration with others. You just cannot do it by yourself. And when you're in a diverse city, as my dad would say, you can be diverse, separate, segregated, and apart. The question is, can you be diverse and be inclusive? And that's why it's important for the police chief of City of Houston to be Chief Art Acevedo, the fire chief to be Samuel Pena, the head of my education initiative to be Juliet Stepech, the head of regulatory affairs to be Tina Pius, and the list goes on and on and on. It is important for people to see themselves around the table of decision making. It's not enough. It's not enough just to say we are diverse. Unless you are diverse in the boards, the commissions, the department heads, the people who are running your operation, diverse in your money, you're just not where it needs to be. And quite frankly, I'm not Hispanic, but my DNA es bueno. I think it's fairly good. And it's important to recognize when we are talking about children, it's not those children. They are our children. It doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter where they come from. It doesn't matter what their language is. It doesn't matter whether they are documented or undocumented. It doesn't matter whether you were living in the city of Houston for 30 years or 30 minutes. I am your mayor, the alcalde, and I represent who you are. And so if you need help, I'm your mayor. If somebody is trying to deport you, I'm your mayor. If you want a strong education, I'm your mayor. And if you need city services, I'm your mayor. We just celebrated, hold on, because I only have a couple of minutes and Mickey gonna pull my coattail. We just celebrated Martin Luther King Day the other day. As a kid, I watched him, I listened to his speeches. And I would take his speeches and go into my mom's bedroom, and then I would practice on those speeches. There was a certain segment, one quotation, that I've carried with me all of my life. He said, "Fleecy locks and black complexion cannot forfeit nature's claim that afflictions may dwell in black and brown and white the same. And were I so tall as to reach the pole or to grasp the ocean at a span, I must be measured by my soul, for the mind is the standard of every man," and I would include every woman. The reality is that it doesn't matter how we got here. We are all here now. And it's important that we make sure that all of our children get the education that they need. When the Houston Independent School District was in trouble with some of their schools, we looked around to try to find the model that would work without trying to take over the district, without trying to go against public education. We looked for a model where we could work with the schools, the underperforming schools. We looked all over the country. We sent a group, Mayor, to LA. We looked at the model that you put in place some 10 years ago, LA United. And we discovered that that was a model that would work well for the city of Houston. We went there, we came back, We designed a nonprofit essentially after the model that you created, based on the passion you had for all of our children and lifting our kids from where they used to be or where they were to give them an opportunity. Someone asked me, Mayor, with all of the things on your plate, why would you get involved in an educational system and take on these battles that you really do not need? And what I said to them, Mayor Villaraigosa, I am the product of two parents. Neither one of them graduated from high school. A dad who died of cancer when he was 13. A mom who was a maid, never learned how to drive, never graduated from high school. Maid at the old Rice Hotel in downtown Houston. But she reared 9 kids all by herself. When people would come to the door selling books, my mom would buy almost every book that somebody was selling. Because what she said, I want you all to have a better life than what I have had. And she said, I'm cleaning these rooms, these hotels, people I don't know, not because I want to, but because I have no choice. And I'll clean them all day, 24 hours, 7, if it means you all getting a better education. When it came time for me to go to school, it was my mom, that maid who had good credit, that signed the loan papers that enabled me to get where I am today. I didn't get here by accident. I didn't get here because I'm so smart. I didn't get here because I'm so gifted or talented. I got here on the backs of moms and dads who did not graduate from high school, but who knew the key to success was education. We have an obligation to all of our kids, and especially children of color, to give them the opportunity to succeed. And regardless of the pain we have to go through, these are our children, and they deserve our very best. I'm following your lead, and I'm following the path that you took to give these kids a better chance. I want to thank you for your honor, but you're not just giving the honor to me. Give it to a whole lot of janitors and maids and fast food workers who are simply asking for the opportunity to succeed. And because of them and their participation in the battle, Sylvester Turner is in D.C. tonight receiving the Antonio Villaraigosa Award, and I thank you for it.